Hello and welcome. Today I want to talk about the Leatherman Bolster. This is a multi-tool in the medium-sized category similar to the Rev, Wingman, and Sidekick lines. In fact, it's very similar to the Rev in terms of its size and dimensions. The weight's going to be 5.9 ounces, however, and it does feature 13 tools on it. The Bolster is also including a updated 420 HC stainless steel blade, which is accessible from the outside, and also liner locks. The tool also features a pair of pliers that are spring-loaded, much like the Wingman and also the Sidekick. The Leatherman Bolster is a small medium-duty tool, and it does have a good compact size along with its included pocket clip. Here we can see the top of the tool here with the blade portion of it that you can deploy one hand, and the other side with the pocket clip, the top, and then also the bottom. Let's look at the 420 HC stainless steel blade. It's a straight blade. It liner locks here, and it's got a nice edge to it, and is fairly a decent size for a small pocket tool, and very sharp out of the box. Let's go ahead and open it up and look at the plier heads here. Now the Bolster is going to have similar plier heads to the Wingman and also the Sidekick in this case, so they're all the same for intents and purposes of this video. We have the needle nose type of pliers at the very tip here. Then we have regular pliers here in the center. And then finally we have our Anvil style wire cutters. And as you can see, it is also spring loaded. Let's start with the tools on this side of the Leatherman. We have the Phillips head screwdriver here. This is a 2D version, much like the Leatherman variant. It's flattened, but it does have the Phillips head 3D type of feel to it, even though it's a 2D driver. Next to it, we also have the slotted screwdriver, which is the same across the entire line. These two tools are going to be the same across the entire line of the Wingman, Rev, Sidekick, and the Bolster here. It's still a nice thickness. It has a nice long length to it on the shaft here, and it does have a semi-rigid lock in place for the slotted screwdriver here, so it's not entirely a full-out locking mechanism, but it does have a little bit of resistance, and it can be used as potentially a very, very light-duty pry bar. Let's move over to the other side section of the tool set here on the Bolster. Once again, these tools also have a soft locking when they are fully extended out. This tool we have here is the Serrated Blade, very similar to the tool on the Sidekick itself, and in place of the package opener on the Wingman and also the Rev. Another tool we have on this side is universal amongst the entire line, and that is our depth gauge, ruler, miniature slotted screwdriver. We have the inches and centimeters on this one, and then on the other side we have a single hatched file. On this side here, there's no file on the bottom for cutting. And then also universally the same across all four models is the standard fare of a combo tool. This is the bottle cap, can opener, and wire stripper tool with the V-notch wire stripper here in the bottom. And included with the Bolster, just like the Sidekick, we have our lanyard holder here in this model. And that is the tool set for the Leatherman Bolster. I'm going to go ahead and do a comparison to the Rev plier head here, just so you guys can see the difference between the pliers. I noticed the Leatherman Rev is a little bit more blunt nose tipped, not as pointy tipped as, say, the spring-loaded pliers here, and obviously the Rev is not spring-loaded. And also note that the wire cutter is different on the Rev. It is a bypass wire cutter versus a Anvil style wire cutter for the Bolster. So that is another important thing to note with the Rev versus the Bolster, as they are the most similar type of tool on the table here. And we're going to go ahead and open up all the knives on the tool so you guys can see the differences between the knives on all four different models within this lineup. Okay, so we have all four knives deployed. They all liner lock. As we can see, some of the differences with the Rev on the left, the Wingman next to it, or rather the Bolster next to it, the Wingman next to the Bolster here, and the Sidekick on the far right, we can tell there's a variety of different blades. Well, to start with the similar blades, the Bolster and the Sidekick have similar straight blades to it, where the bigger nail nicks are at the top of the blade as opposed to the far end. On the Rev, the cut is the same, the grind is the same. The Rev is a little bit different than the others, where it has the nail nick at the bottom, making it a little bit harder to open one-handed. You can still do it. The Wingman has the most different blade out of all of them, where it is a partial straight blade and also a serrated blade. So it's a combo blade. Not the best in my opinion, but it is the variance between the 4 different models here. We also note that the Bolster and the Rev themselves don't have a secondary tool on the outside scale, whereas the Wingman and the Sidekick have secondary tools out here. One is a saw for the Sidekick, and the other one is a pair of scissors. So that is the blade difference between all 4 models. We'll go ahead and close them up. Overall, the Bolster is a decent small tool to have. Its weight is not as light as the Rev, but it does have the serrated blade option in place of the package cutter, which in my opinion isn't the most practical tool on a Leatherman type of tool, especially one with plier heads. And I've noticed in my experience as a packager throughout the years, using the plier head tip of it is generally enough pressure to break most tapes on boxes to open them up. So basically renders the package opener function on the Rev and the Wingman kind of mute or redundant. However, it still can find different uses. The blade deployment is good. It's also improved from the Rev and liner locks, so that's pretty decent addition on the Bolster. I do like the spring-loaded handles for specific things, although I do prefer a non-spring-loaded handle and also bypass cutters, unlike the Anvil cutters on the Bolster. It's a light-duty, entry-level Leatherman style multi-tool for anybody who's looking to get into multi-tools or as a gift. These came out in Costco about 2021 for about $39 or so, sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more, depending on the holiday season. I'm not sure where they sell it anymore, but you can probably find these used on eBay for around the same price. They are kind of collectible in some ways, but they're pretty much a updated version of the Leatherman Rev within the whole Wingman Sidekick lineup. Overall, it's a decent medium-sized multi-tool, and I would recommend it to anybody who's getting into it. And that's all I have to say about the Leatherman Bolster. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the day.